Your podcast is a powerful tool that serves your audience and your business. But how do you manage it all, bring in new listeners, and convert those listeners into customers? That's what this show is all about. Welcome to Podcasting for Educators. I'm Sarah Whitaker, classroom teacher turned podcast manager, and I'm here to help you get the most out of your show, all while making an impact on other educators. Hey, welcome back to Podcasting for Educators. If you are new here, my name is Sarah and I'm your host. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are somebody who's been around for a while, thank you for coming back. I'm really excited for this episode because it's a little bit different, kind of, than the episodes that I usually do. Several weeks ago, I put up a poll, not a poll, I did the question, the question sticker on Instagram stories, asking people two questions. And those two questions were, what are the things that really bug you about podcasts that you listen to or that you have listened to? Like, what are those things that you notice that will actually make you turn the episode off and maybe never even go back and listen to that podcast again? And then the second question was the opposite. So what do you really love about your favorite podcast? What is it that makes you want to push play week after week after week? And the responses were really interesting. And I was excited because I got a lot of responses. Sometimes you put those question stickers up and it's like crickets. And other times people have a lot of strong opinions. And this was one of those cases. So I thought it would be fun to do a quick episode sharing the responses with you so that you know what really bothers people about podcasts so that you can avoid doing that in your show, and what people really love so that you can focus on doing that so that people want to continue coming back and listening. Okay, first up is the question of what are those things that bug you that would make you want to turn off the episode? And this had the most responses. People love sharing what bothers them and what they don't like about things. So I kind of split up the answers into two main categories based off of the responses that I got. So the first category is audio, and the second category is content. Okay, starting with category one, these are the things that people said about audio, specifically the issues that often occur with podcast audio that is sometimes unbearable to listen to. And I know that if you are a podcast manager listening, you know the deal. We are like 20 times more sensitive to all of the little things that happen in audio because we're the ones editing episodes every single day. And so we're very aware of all the things that can happen with audio. But according to these responses, there are lots of things that have to do with audio that would bug anybody. Okay, so here's some of the things people said. Excessive background noise, and I am so with you. There's podcasts that I've listened to where there's so much going on in the background. There's cars that you can hear. There's dogs barking. Just a PSA for every podcaster out there. If a dog starts barking while you're recording, just stop and wait for it to pass and then get back into it. Okay, this next one is a big one. It's probably my biggest pet peeve in terms of audio, and that is when the audio isn't level. This especially happens with guest interviews. If you've ever been, listening to a podcast in your car and the host is talking and the volume's great, but then the guest starts talking and they're super quiet. And so you're like constantly adjusting the volume. And it is so frustrating to listen to. This is absolutely something that would make me turn off an episode, okay? The other one is mouth clicks. So I just did it so you can hear what it sounds like. I am a mouth clicker for sure. However, this is something that can 100% be taken out during editing. If they're in there every now and again, it's fine. You don't have to take every single one out, but take out the mouth clicks, people. Bad sound quality overall. This person said, I'll just stop listening. I'm totally with you. This is another reason why if you're using Zoom and you're constantly getting bad audio because of bad internet connection, it might be time to switch to a paid option like Zencastr or Riverside. I got a lot of responses about hosts talking over each other. And I think this also goes for like any kind of guest episode. If the guest and the host are talking over each other, constantly interrupting each other, that can be really frustrating to listen to. And then I got a couple of responses about filler words when there's like a lot of you knows, like every other word is That is also very frustrating to listen to. So all of these things that I just listed can all be fixed in two ways. One, being in the editing process, and two, having the right setup and the right equipment will eliminate a lot of these issues. So if you're a podcaster who has not so great audio quality, there are a bunch of things that you can do to fix it before you even push record, just based on where you're actually recording. All right, moving on to what bugs people about the actual content in the episodes. A lot of answers about too much chit chat between hosts, so if it's a co-hosted show or if it's a guest and a host, just a bunch of like fluffy chit chat that people frankly just don't really care about. And that's not why they came to listen to the episode. They don't want to know what you had for lunch or for dinner. They want to learn about what the title and the episode description said they were going to learn about. People said it bothers them when there's lots of rambling, when they're not staying on topic, when it's just a fluffy episode, when it's over and you're like, did you even just tell me anything? Or did I just waste 20 minutes of my life? I think this is a really important one because especially, if you have this really compelling title for the episode and this great description and people are excited to push play and then they do get to the end and they feel like you didn't actually deliver on what you had promised them, that's going to really quickly break trust with your listeners. So if you're a podcast that is teaching something, stick to what you're teaching. You can 100% add your personality and add little tidbits of personal information here and there so that people are still getting to know you. But just remember what people are coming to that episode for. Another answer was when there's a really long intro, like people just want you to get to the good stuff. They don't want to listen to a 5-minute intro every time that they tune into your episodes. When the title doesn't match the content, we kind of went over that one. When people sound super scripted, this person says, I want feeling, not a read aloud. I love that. And I think that's so true. And that's why I recommend doing an outline versus a traditional full-on script. Another thing, just like a little helpful hint here, if you're finding yourself sounding really like robotic and scripted, stand up to record. That's another great reason to have a boom arm where you can like adjust your mic and pull it up and you can actually record standing up. I love using my hands. Like right now I'm using my hands a lot if you could see me. And those are ways that are going to make you just kind of talk a little bit more natural and it's going to come off more naturally, even if you've got a pretty detailed outline in front of you. So the common theme here is definitely that people don't enjoy all the fluff in the episodes. They want to get to the meat of the episode. They want to hear what they came to the episode for. And your episodes don't need to be any longer than they need to be. If you've covered your point, it can be over, even if it's a 5-minute episode and you wanted it to be a 20-minute episode. And then the other common response about episode content was like excessive ads. Like one person said, when there's 5 ads in an episode every 15 minutes. Yes, I completely agree. Notice that when people are talking about how ads bother them, it's when those ads are excessive. I'm sure you've listened to podcasts that you really love the content to, but it feels like every 5 minutes there's an ad, and that is frustrating. I have a couple of podcasts that I listen to that I have stopped listening to because the ads are so excessive. All right, now let's take a look at the things that people do really love about their favorite podcast. And as you could probably imagine, it's basically the opposite of the things that they don't like. There were several comments about how they really love when a podcast has really good sound quality. And if you've ever listened to a podcast that has bad sound quality, it definitely makes you appreciate the ones that have good sound quality. And then the other answers I grouped into two categories, one being personality and likability, and the other category being episode content. A lot of comments about the personality of the host, authenticity. They like when hosts are funny, when they're able to get to know the host's personality and sense of humor, when they're able to relate to the host. If it's a co-hosted show, people really love when their personalities mesh really well together and it's really fun to listen to. I think co-hosted shows are so fun as long as the personalities go well together. And then somebody else mentioned that they really love when the host can tell stories that they can connect to. And in a way, this might feel a little confusing because so many people are vocal about the fact that they don't like the fluffiness of episodes. They just want the content. And then other people in the same breath are saying that they really love to get to know the host. And you can accomplish both. There's definitely an art and a science to it that any podcaster is constantly trying to figure out the right balance of that. And that's just going to come with time. And then lots of comments about the actual content of the episode. They love when there's a nice flow to the episode, when there's no wasted gabbing, just good stuff every single minute. Helpful, concise content, when episodes are still useful, even if they're selling something. This one specific person said, I still listen even if I'm already in their paid program. They still listen to the podcast. I love when the host gives small, actionable steps. Yes, yes, yes. Just another reminder for us to always simplify our episodes. Give one clear call to action so that it doesn't cause confusion and overwhelm for the listener. And then one person said that they really love when there's a clear episode description and introduction. And I'm assuming that by introduction, they mean like those first few minutes of the episode when the host clearly states what the episode is actually going to be about. So I thought that was really good information and good feedback as well. Hopefully you found this information useful and as interesting as I did, and you can take some of these things that people noted that they really disliked and that they really liked, and you can focus on improving those in your show. And if you're curious about how people feel specifically about your show, a good thing to do is ask them. I actually just did an episode on sending out listener surveys. It's episode 41, so you can go check that out for some ideas on how to do that. Alrighty, that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. To keep this conversation going, connect with me on Instagram at Podcasting for Educators. I'm always looking for an excuse to talk about podcasting. If you're looking for support in launching, managing, or growing your podcast, check out my online course, the Podcasting for Educators Prep School, at podcastingforeducators.com/prep school. I'll see you here next time.